I'm going to share with you guys a report that shows the stock market only has days left. We look at over here at the Fear and Greed Index. We are sitting at 70. We actually ticked 3 ticks closer towards neutral territory today. Now, we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was down 6.71 points. The NASDAQ was up 33.12 points. S&P 500 down 2.78 points, with the Russell 2000 being down 0.86. We look at advanced issues versus declining. We had 55.4% of issues declining on the day. Then as we come over and look at how the sectors fared across the board, consumer defensives leading the way, followed by communication services. However, industrials absolutely getting smoked out there for the day. And when we come over real quick and we take a look at the heat map, and for all intents and purposes, we look at the NASDAQ. Look at the big winner out there today. The big winner, essentially out of the big weightings, is going to be Microsoft, up 2.08%. If we look at a chart real quick of Microsoft today, Microsoft has a big bullish candle on the way up. We look out here on the 5-minute chart, it's just a rocket ship on the way back up. Now the question is, will Microsoft be able to continue to go up? And more importantly, what is causing Microsoft to continue to go up higher? Because we're talking about this quite a bit today. Microsoft advances why the stock market was actually declining. Then we look right here, Microsoft to roll out new autonomous AI agents next month, fending off a challenge from Salesforce. We know how the market already perceived this as very bullish news. And you may be asking yourself, Mike, what in the world is an AI agent? We come over here and look at Google real quick. An AI agent is a software program that can perform tasks, interact with its environment, and use data to achieve its goals. So essentially, we're going to see Microsoft rolling out some very useful AI tools in the very near future. And we see the stock market was cheering Microsoft higher for the day. Now, if we come over and look at the dollar index today, dollar index on a tear once again, just rocketing on the way up. And here's where we got to scratch our head and ask ourselves. The dollar index is going higher. We look at the 10-year yield. 10-year yield is also going higher. We come over and take a look at gold. Gold today smashing another new all-time high. Let's not forget, we have our ABC projection up here at about 2782.3. Now, if I turn on the 9-count indicator on gold, notice today was count number 8. Will tomorrow be bar number 9? Actually, right up here near the ABC pattern completion. Then as we come over and look at crude oil real quick, we saw crude oil on the move up again today. Now with crude oil, we do have this gap lower. In order to fill the gap, we need to get up to about 73.81. And when we look at this, we have a low, higher low, potentially higher low right here, and we have a high, higher high. So we'll see if this can push up and make another recent high and keep the trend intact, or do we form some type of lower high? Now, as we looked at gold, the dollar, and crude oil, we saw they were all going up. However, there's another problem brewing out there. Come over and look at financial juice real quick. Look right here, channel 12, Israel citing sources. The army has completed its preparation to attack Iran and seems that it will be within days. Now, what is that going to mean if indeed that is going to pose a problem? 1, we're going to see crude oil going up higher. 2, gold is likely going to go higher, and we're probably going to see the VIX rocketing up. Also, Zelensky is basically saying that he has been informed 12,000 North Korean soldiers. We got a lot of problems going on all over the world, but then we come over and we look at the volatility index today. Look at the VIX. The VIX was actually down. Then as the market opened up, we just slowly drifted lower throughout the trading day. Now, we come over and look at Tesla. We can see we've had that gap down. Now we have what could be a dreaded H pattern, or does this basically firm up and hold? Because if we look at tomorrow we see after the close, Tesla is going to have earnings. And right now we are in the thick of earnings season. So even though we may lack some catalyst in the market, we still have some stocks that have the potential for some huge moves out there. Tesla, being a large weighting of some of the indices out there, is expected to move plus or minus 8%. So tomorrow is going to be very important. Does the earnings come out and show Tesla coming back up towards potentially filling the gap? The MACD indicator is below the 0 line. We'll see if it starts to firm up tomorrow or not. Then as we come over and look at the diamonds real quick, what do we see? Diamonds have had quite a move on the way up. Now we started to come back down. And today the diamonds was the first of the indices to come back and fill the gap. Now, one of the things we talked about this morning on the live stream, the first 30 minutes of the live stream, we're talking about market analysis. After that, when the market opens, then we're live trading. But essentially, if we got back above this low right over here, one of the areas we talked about was the minus development areas within the profile. Look right where we came today. right back towards that area. So once we got above the low, we knew it was green light go. We're looking for the rotation back up through yesterday's profile with a target near that minus development area. Now, as we come over and look at the IWM, kind of a hammer-ish looking candle, or a doji, dragonfly doji, something along those lines. And it came right down to the 50% level. Now, is that going to be the place in which we turn? In between the 50 and 61.8 level is a normal retracement that we'd like to see stocks go to and then potentially rally up out of that. And that could set up another ABC pattern on the way up. Now, speaking of ABC patterns on the way up, today during the live stream, we're basically mapped out this ABC pattern out here for the NASDAQ. We talked about the A to B leg, the B to C leg. Then we came all the way up here, smashing the 100% A to B equals C to D pattern. Now, as we jump over real quick and we take a look at the Qs. Now, I want to make everybody aware, Apex having an 80% sale off all their evaluation accounts, passing as little as 1 day, $85 activation fees. If you like the larger accounts, the 150, 250, and 300K accounts, after using promo code Mike, they will only be $50. If you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Now, as we jump over real quick and we take a look at the Qs, what is going on with the Qs today? You can see we're able to close up on the session. After hours, we are down, basically erasing all the gains from today. Now, when we look at this, what have we been doing? Nothing more than consolidating around these areas. On the 4-hour chart, what do we got going on? Nothing more than a big consolidation. MACD indicator basically flatlined out. Then on the 30-minute chart, what do we got? We can see they tried to push it down today. We opened up down here. We got above value area low. We had the profile rotation on the way up. And we had this ABC pattern up as well. Now, as we look at this, when we zoom this out, notice we have several days where the volume profile levels are essentially overlapping. And it's quite obvious at some point, we're going to get a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. Now, we come over and we look at the futures markets real quick, starting off looking at the weekly charts. We can see just chop, chop, chop all in this area. And now we're sitting right near value area high from last week. If we start coming back down, the point of control could be of interest. But if we can hold above 517, then that gives us a green light. We're likely going to go back higher, trying to attack the highs right up in that area. Then as we come over and look at the daily profiles, notice value area high shifted up higher from what we were talking about this afternoon on the live stream. And I was hoping that we'd actually close above value area high. That's not the case. We actually closed below it, and we're actually right near this minus development area. Keep in mind, we're going to have an untested point of control at 20,493. Value area high is going to be right up here at a ballpark of 20,545.00, with value area low being down here at 20,424.50. Now, one of the areas I'm going to be watching is, can we get back above this minus development area, potentially cracking back above value area high? If we can, then I kind of want to target this area all the way up here near the highs. Candle wick right up here to the candle bodies. And when we look at the volume profile, notice that the very thin structure that we have up in that area. But if we come over and look at, what could potentially move the markets in our direction, we look out here on Wednesday. What do we have for news? A little bit light. 10 a.m. existing home sales. Woohoo! We also have crude oil inventory numbers coming out at 10:30. Other than that, we are very light in terms of catalysts that move the market. Now, the one thing we do need to be mindful of is if the tensions flare up in the Middle East, meaning Israel goes back on the offensive, then we're likely to get a big, quick, knee-jerk reaction on the way down. And we got to ask ourselves, is that going to be nothing more than a buying opportunity moving forward? As we come over real quick and take a look at the SPY, what's going on there? Well, on the daily chart, we have nothing more than an upper level consolidation. Now, anytime we're consolidating near the highs, we expect higher prices will resume. And we do have a first ABC target up here at about 592. We have another one up there right around 600. Then as we dive down, look at the 4-hour chart, we see we have a cross of the MACD indicator lines to the downside. But then on the 30-minute chart, we've already got the bullish cross starting to form. However, one thing to know, we have a minus development area within the profile that I will be watching right up in this area. And that's going to be anywhere from 582.90 down to about 582.71. One, that could act as a target. Two, we can see a rejection out of that area. Now, if we just simply flush through it, then value area low and the low of today would be in play. Now, one of the things we talked about this morning as well was if we go below the low of yesterday and we start coming back up, we could target value area low from the prior day, the point of control. And then I really liked this area right here. This is what I talked about in this morning's analysis. This area, somewhere in the ballpark of 583.70, was going to be a target location for me if we could either get above value area low or break the low from the prior day and then start coming back up. As we come over and we look at the futures markets real quick, what do we got going on? On the weekly time frame, you can see that we've already been above value area high from last week. We've rotated all the way down. We came back up and now we came back down below value area high today. Then we were able to get back above that area. So as long as we're above 58.83 and a quarter, then that tells me that the path of least resistance is higher. However, tensions in the Middle East are going to be critical because once that offensive is launched, that is going to be a problem for the stock market. Now, as we come over and look at the daily profiles, we have value area high somewhere in the ballpark of 58.90.25. We have the point of control down here at 58.79.25 with value area low being about 58.63.75. Now, as I'm looking at this chart, I really wish that we would have closed up a little bit higher because then there'd be a little bit more meat on the bone to essentially try to target this minus development area within the profile. Now, there is one a little bit lower, which I will be focused on tonight as well at about 82. Now, ideally, I'd like to see a little bit of a bounce when we open back up at 6, then potentially flush back down towards that area sometime today. Now, if we can get above value area high and we stay above it, then I'm going to want to target this little area of this minus development area over here, which kind of correlates near these candle bodies. And that's going to correlate somewhere in right around the 5,900 price point. Anything above that price point, then I want to refer back over to the weekly profiles and say, all right, where are we likely to go? Try to back and fill in where we have very thin volume up here at the top of the range. That would be anywhere from that candle body all the way up here to all-time highs in the market. Now, if you guys aren't aware, Apex 3.0 is here. And if you want to understand the rules better, watch this video right here.